For Asgard, Disney's Recess versus The Weekenders. The Weekenders is a way better show. I have like this love dislike relationship with the Recess. It's a it's a it's a fine show, but when you compare it to shows like Weekenders, it's a very weak show. It's very weak and simplistic, and it's not edgy. It's just eh. Obviously, a lot of us, including myself, grew up with Recess, and it was one of those shows that you liked. And once you get older, you kind of rewatch it from time to time, and for some shows, you notice stuff, and other shows it may be better than before. But I rewatched them both. I rewatched them both, and I think Weekenders is such a great show. Whereas Recess is it's okay. I think just because of nostalgia, everyone thinks it's this great show, but it it, it, it it's like it's like a little step above or below average. I like the characters in Recess. I think the characters are interesting. Guru Kid, King Bob, Miss Finster, Randall, etc. I think those characters are fine. The main cast is great. I just don't like TJ. I just don't like it. I just find TJ annoying. I find TJ too preachy. Lately, every episode he's so preachy. He causes trouble and then is able to preach to make people do what he wants. He causes trouble, but then by the end, he finds his moral compass. Then he preaches again. It's such a it's kind of a preachy show. It's a fine show. I can still watch it from time to time, but it's kind of an annoying show just because of TJ. You take away TJ, and I think you have a better show. Does TJ really have flaws? No. He's just there to preach. He's just there to cause trouble and to then fix problems. He causes problems and he fixes by himself. He causes. I just never liked TJ. I just never liked him as a character. This whole show, again, the show's called Recess, and everything is focused on TJ. And when anything happens in the show, his friends will always call TJ first. Something happened, hey, Tej. This happened, Tej. This happened, TJ, TJ. They don't call Spinelli. They don't call Mikey. They don't call Gretchen. It's always TJ. And it's kind of annoying. But when we compare that to Weekenders, Tino here is like the main character, but he has so many flaws. They all have flaws. They're all edgy, they're all sarcastic, and it works. Problems are not always solved. It's such a better, edgy, interesting, creative, sarcastic, edgy show. Tino's just a better protagonist because he's not preachy. I don't want to say preachy, but he does give his lectures at the end, but it's not preachy. He does it in a sarcastic, clever way. But TJ, when he preaches, God, it's annoying. And one thing I noticed about the show, they probably, I don't know, I don't really know the whole origin and the production of this show and how it came to be. But TJ is surrounded by known outcasts. Look at this. So, for example, Gus is like the wimp. That's a known outcast in school. Gretchen the geek. Mikey might be, a bit flamboyant. Might be the gay one. Vince, obviously, because he's so-called black. And Spinelli, who doesn't like the G word, as in girl, doesn't like being called Ashley, might be, people say tomboy, but I think it's like borderline, she might be transgendered. So you have five known common type outcast groups surrounding this preachy child. And within the group, it just seems like they're only all friends with TJ. Well, the others are just, they're just there. They're just more, acquaintance. Is that the right word? They're just there. They're all there because of TJ. Because when Gus came, TJ was the first person to bring Gus in. And seeing how, Mikey might be gay, a little bit flamboyant, the geek. You have the black kid, and then you have a tranny, a potential transgendered. All these people are outcasts in the school, where they would probably be more so by themselves. They wouldn't have a group, even though, with the, I forgot what they're called. An episode where TJ goes to that room because he hurt his arm. Oh, Pale Kids. I think it was called Pale Kids. But Gretchen could have fit in with that group, I think. Gus, maybe. But overall, they're all five outcasts that I feel TJ is using. He uses them for his gain to basically kind of rule the school. We'll say, people say, oh, King Bob rules the school and Principal Prickly. But this guy has, five areas. He uses them. The tough girl in Spinelli can use that toughness. Vince, who I think is cooler than TJ, who's an athlete, superstar. He has probably the most sense of anyone. And there's Mikey, the big guy, can be strong as well. Gretchen, who's very smart, and Gus, who his father is military. So this guy is basically, I think he's just using these people to stay in his position. He practically rules the school, basically, in a way. He can manipulate. He's a manipulator. He's a troublemaker. It's kind of confused. He's a troublemaker, but then at the same time, he's a hero. You can say, oh, he's an anti-hero. He just causes trouble, and then once trouble comes, he gets upset about it. A good example is when the intern teacher or the substitute intern teacher, the young male teacher comes, and at first they all just want to fool around and whatnot. But TJ just obsessed with the teacher's troublemaking history. And then he pretty much pushes that teacher to be reckless and almost getting, fired. Or let go from his position. And then, like always, he always turns around and preaches. Same when Mr. E comes in, the substitute, the tough substitute teacher. Teacher's acting like a B word for no reason. All for attention, for no reason. God, sometimes I just hate this show. So he was just being a B word to that teacher for no reason. Everyone else respected the teacher. And once TJ was left alone, that's when he was vulnerable. Same with the episode when they did the project and everyone split up. Once he's left alone, he's vulnerable. And the episode where they did the ticket things, where TG becomes like the richest person to play with those alien stickers or Mon stickers. Once he's outcast, he just feels horrible. So to me, he uses these people around him. He uses Menlo. He uses a lot of people for his own gain. He's not a good character. I don't know about good character or bad character. I don't know about that. But I think good characters and having bad characters is a whole part of a show, and that's kind of makes it more realistic in like real life. So I'm not saying he's a good character, I'm not saying he's a bad character. All I'm saying he's kind of annoying. He's overrated. Y'all like him because he's just so preachy and annoying. But when you have the Weekenders, oh my god, a much better, funny show. Tish is like Gretchen, brainy, but has her flaws, but isn't, you know, you know, that much pretentious. I mean, there's that episode about her Tish being pretentious, but she has her flaws. Tino, scared of clowns, very sarcastic, kind of wimpy. Carver trying to be cool, bad penmanship, and you know, it's a bit of a of a goofball, and then you have Lore, who's a tomboy, but it's kind of like some Spinelli, but it's done better. It's done better. It shows beautiful. I love this show. And these episodes, each for both of them, each of their episodes are like 10 minutes long. And I feel we get more out of the Weekenders than we got out of Recess. So both are 10 minutes long. But I feel more is done with Weekenders than it's done with Recess. I feel like Recess, once the episode starts, it's over. It starts, some problem happens, and TG preaches, and the show's over. Whereas Weekenders, it's just so much more interesting, so much more going on. I like how they change their clothes. The pizza restaurant always changes. His mom's sarcastic. The bad food. There's a lot of recurring goofs that happen, and it's just such better show than Recess. I'm not saying I hate Recess. I'm not saying it's trash. It's just overrated. I'm just telling you what I see, and what I see is an overrated show, mainly because of TJ. I think if you take him away, you can have a better show. Less preaching, and the characters can rely on each other instead of just relying on TJ. Another thing I don't get, Gretchen is like the smartest. Gus, he has his leader skills shown in the King Gus episode. Plus, his dad is military, so he can come up with plans. He has come up with plans before. But somehow TJ's always the one giving out the plans. In an episode where TJ fails at his plan and he gives up, they were so incompetent. Like, why? You have the smartest kid. You have Gus. You have Vince. You guys have been doing these plannings since forever. Sure, you guys should have come up with something, but they always want to rely on TJ. I hate that. I hate that about shows when they just rely on the main character, rely on one character. Not even superhero shows are like that. Even in superhero shows, the hero's not doesn't always save the day. The hero sometimes get assistance from someone. Someone else saves the day. Sometimes mishaps happen. Sometimes the hero fails. Tragedy happens because of the hero. But with this, it's like TJ's always in the center, always the one winning, always the one coming with plans, always the one preaching. And the only one that can really problem solve on his own is Vince. Everyone else is always so dependent on TJ. Gus depends on him. Gretchen depends on him. Speaking of Gretchen, the episode where Gretchen was going to go to space, TJ was a B word. Yeah, like Vince is like the one that's that's the most responsible, who can carry himself very well without the group. This is Vince, probably one of the coolest kids on the playground. Gresham would do fine with the Pell kids. Gus, I know he has his problems, but the show is not really about growth though. Like all these episodes don't matter. Every episode when something happens, I mean we can say that about any show. But when anytime anything happens, they always end up back where they started again. Like no episode really matters. So it doesn't matter how you watch any of these episodes because nothing really matters. By the end, everything is always being solved. You can say the same about Weekenders, but there's a few episodes where they still fail. They don't succeed. I think the episode, which episode was it? Oh, the episode where Tish was being pretentious about being perfect. She didn't or she gets a B or something. It sticks. Carvel trying to be cool and this never happens. Tino, always being sarcastic and wimpy. I don't know. Weekends is just done so much better than Recess. I could still enjoy these shows just because of nostalgia, and when you're like bored, it's okay to watch a couple episodes. But Weekenders is by far better. And in this show, you see the big three of the Disney Channel, where I was the Family Channel. The big three, or maybe you have the big four with Proud Family, but you have Disney's Fillmore, Recess, Weekenders, and then you have the Proud Family. That's the big four right there. That is the big four. Ultimately, I think Fillmore's like the best show. It was just so over the top, so serious, interesting, mysterious. Still think Weekenders is better than Recess. Sorry, whatever, but yeah. Yeah, Recess is an okay show. I mean, episodes are alright, but it's like, it's all for nothing. Like, it's like you can watch any of the episodes in any order and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So yeah, TJ's just surrounded by outcasts. And without him, he's nothing. Because everyone else on the playground succeeds. They're doing something, they succeed, they're fine. But without these five guys, TJ is nothing, in my opinion. He is nothing. All Gus needs to do is toughen up. Um, Still do his music stuff, do the safety stuff. Um, out on the military kind of stuff. You're good. Gretchen, she has the Pill Kids. Mikey can join like any art or dance class. Vince can can gel well with anyone. Spinelli, or should I say Ashley Spinelli? She might struggle a little bit too because she's probably the most sensitive, the most insensitive. Any word to her triggers her to want to fight you, so she may actually struggle the most. Yeah, I think Spinelli's probably like a transgender, tomboy transgender. Vince is obviously the black guy. Mikey's the gay one. Gretchen's the geek, and Gus is the wimp. And TJ isn't cool. TJ is um he's annoying. He's annoying. He's desperate. Um, yeah, there's nothing good about him because he pretty much causes trouble. Most times he's the one causing some kind of trouble. His plans backfire, and then he has to go solve it. One thing I hated, one of these episodes where Finster breaks her leg or hurts her leg. Um, when they do the plan to get the candy, Gus is already there eating it, and he doesn't say a word. He's eating it fine, laughing, smiling. He's good. But as soon as TJ eats the candy and doesn't gulp, he feels bad because Miss Finster isn't out there chasing him. And then they all just follow suit with TJ. They don't they they all just follow it. Even Gus was eating a whole lot of them. Didn't feel a thing until TJ does that. I hate that, man. That's just to me, it's just lazy writing, man. These could have a couple of them be like, who cares? Like Weekenders would have done that. Have someone, there's a few of them where uh so the episode with Prue where Carver wanted to stick with Prue because he's getting all the popular stuff, and the others didn't really like her. They weren't getting along, and Carver was like, "No, you don't want to ditch her." Then Carver just, bails in and ditches Prue. I mean, the episode where the cool kids invite them to a party, these two dress up for it instead of just you know all of them just being instead of all of them just being I guess angry towards the so-called cool kids. Carver goes like, "That does that mean we're not going to the party?" So that works. That sarcasm, it works. But in Recess, it's just like whatever TJ says, they just all do. Whatever TJ says, they're all going to do. Not in every episode, but some episodes like that, and I don't like that. The show just has some lazy, simplistic writing. And even in the Recess movie, the same thing. Once TJ's left alone, he's vulnerable. And I get it's part of the show, how to tell a story, but I'm just telling you what I see. Anytime TJ is left out, he is vulnerable, he's useless. Well, everyone else, they prosper really well. They all went to camp and they were prospering. So back in Recess, I think they all prosper. They would all prosper. Except TJ. TJ could probably manage maybe. But it's TJ. He's just an annoying troublemaker that likes to preach. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Weekenders is a better show. Recess is kind of trash. Not trash, trash, but it's annoying trash. I mean, I'll still enjoy it from time to time, but it's still kind of like, it's not good, but it's like trash when you compare it to Fillmore and Weekenders. For the fun of it, I don't know if I could view this. No. Um, can't view them. But anyways, let the lightning be your sword and the sun be your shield.